Hey, what's good YouTube? Welcome back to the channel here. In today's video, what I have for you guys is going to be a video on my settings. I try to keep you updated on like my settings every single season, and I didn't do one since season 3. So I'm going to be going through all my settings, like I said, controller settings like sensitivity, all that good stuff. Some settings that are must have, some settings that are a little bit more, preference. But I'm going to be showing you guys all that. I'm also going to be going through my graphic settings where I try to get as much FPS. If you guys are playing on PC, you guys can check that out also. So I'm going to be going through all that. Hopefully you guys can enjoy it. If you do enjoy the video at any point, obviously drop a like. If you guys are brand new on the channel, obviously subscribe. Aside from them, let's get into the settings. All right, so starting on the controller side of things, you guys can see I do play with a controller. I still play with a PS4 controller. It's a Scuff 4PS. I basically have one paddle behind. I also have digital taps, which are pretty cool. They're like mouse clicks. You guys obviously don't need a controller like this, but it definitely helps, man. I have one paddle to slide, which can help me in some gunfights. So starting off with the sensitivity, man, I play 7.7. I switched a lot between 7.7 and 8.8 this year. If you guys are still trying to find like your good spot for like sensitivity, don't know where to start between like 6 and like 9 and play around. If it's too high, put it down, obviously, and then play around with that. But between 6 and 9 is where a lot of people play at. ADS sensitivity multiplier is 0.9. I ended up putting like the ground vehicle and air vehicle also, but there's no ground or air vehicle in Vanguard. So, but the button layout, you guys gonna see I do play stick and move. That is something that I've been playing for a minute. Since like BO3 when it came out, I've been playing stick and move, and I just love this. Basically, you jump. You can see like the how can I say, like the inputs on the right side right here. I jump with my R3 and I melee with X. So that means every time I bunny hop or I jump in a gunfight, my thumb is always on my thumbstick, which is pretty good. Plus, like I mentioned earlier, I do have a scuff, so I can slide from behind. But even there, if you guys can also use stick and move if you don't have a scuff, and you're gonna end up like slide canceling with circle. But at least when you're jumping, your thumb is always on your thumbsticks, which is pretty good. Tactical is also a great option if you guys don't have like scuff controllers or stuff like that, where basically you crouch and prone with R3 and you melee with circle. So you're basically sliding with your R3, which is pretty nice. So you keep it as stick and move. Everything, if I don't go over stuff, it's because they're just by default or they're off. So there's a lot of settings that I just simply didn't touch. And then the next thing is the aim response curve that I set it to dynamic. By default to standard. I had that since like Cold War, I think, so I just put the same thing on here. Dynamic, it reverse. The description is reverse S curve mapping for fine aim rate control. What does that mean? I have no idea. I just know that I like it a little bit more than standard. So controller vibration obviously off. I turned that off like I think like in Warzone, man. I've been playing with on since like the start of like me playing Call of Duty. But having it off is so much better. You guys definitely gotta trust it and put that off. Everything here is by default. I don't have anything specific. Going down to left and right trigger minimum input dead zone. I have it at 0. I don't want to have like a dead zone when I press my trigger. Plus I have like digital tabs, so I just ended up putting 0. I think by default it's like 0.13, so I just put it at 0 for me, and I was a little bit more comfortable with that. Now it's still in controller. There's controller, and there's controller gameplay, so we're gonna be going the controller side of things. There's target aim assist. I used to play, I think, Black Ops in like one of my first settings video, but I don't know, man. I played around like a couple months ago, played around with it, and I felt like default I was a little bit more comfortable playing with that, so I ended up putting back default for this one. ADS aim assist, obviously aim assist, I have it on. Weapon mod activation all by default here. The next thing we have is this automatic airborne mantle. I always feel like I was a little bit like not sure about this setting, like on off. Every time like I restarted like my game or reinstalled it, the settings I always forgot what I had. And in the previous settings video, I don't even know if I think I had it off or on, but this is definitely the best thing you can have is partial and ground mantled on. You're gonna be sliding and like jumping just so much better. It's just gonna be so much smooth. You with this off, you're basically dead sliding. When you slide cancel, you're dead sliding constantly, and it's so annoying. So definitely want to have partial and on for this. And automatic, I do have automatic sprint. That is more of a preference thing. I think I'm like one of the only ones that have this. A lot of people have tactical sprint, and I don't know, I just feel like I'm always like I'm dead sliding a lot. My movement is a little bit like sloppy when I play tactical, so should I get used to it? Probably, but for right now, man, I like my automatic sprint. I'm just so used to it, man, since the start of Vanguard, so I ended up playing with that. And the next thing in this is this is super important, the slide behavior. I know a lot of you guys probably have this on, but if you don't, you need it, man. Slide behavior, you don't want to have it at tap. Basically, when you're sliding, you don't want to be holding circle. As soon as I press it, I want to be slide canceling. It's gonna be so much better, so much more smooth for your movement, basically. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think from my settings in the controller and the gameplay side of things, I don't think I have anything specific here. So now where we're gonna go in is I could go for audio. Every time I don't cover audio, you guys are cooking me, asking me for my audio. I don't have anything crazy. Obviously I cut the music because that's annoying. But aside from them, and I have home theater, and I think everything is like default. So it's like home theater, and like the actual volumes are played with my headset. So there's nothing really there. But graphics, man, this is where it's interesting. I know some of you guys, if you guys are playing like on console, you might not have everything, but there's a good amount of stuff that you do have. So I'm gonna be covering all that. So obviously, I play on a monitor as 164 hertz. So I have a custom frame rate set at 120. And my PC had like a little bit of an issue, so I had to tune it down a little bit. It used to be like 160 because I have like 160 refresh rate. So more than that was useless. So I ended up tuning it down a little bit, and my PC was a little bit more smooth. It was less chunky, and my stream was less lagging. But if you guys are like chilling, put it at like close to your refresh rate. If you have like a 160 like me, you can set your custom frame rate to 160. Definitely don't put it unlimited. It's gonna be working harder than it has to. So definitely set a custom one. Everything here in the quality, you guys gonna see I focus everything a lot on FPS. I want to gain as much FPS. I don't really care about like how good it looks in game. I'm gonna have like some quality settings on, but aside from that, man, I'm not gonna have almost anything on in my settings. So ended up in display here. I think we didn't have anything else. Obviously, I have a 3070 and on-demand texture streaming. You definitely want to have this off when you're playing. If that's on, it's mad stuttery, packet burst left and right. I feel like when I had this off, it's a lot more smooth. So definitely want to turn this off. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the graphics and display section. Now in the quality section, I have a couple things here. I mean, there's a lot of settings. Obviously, I'm in the resolutions at 100, and I have a custom quality preset because I usually what I do is I set it at low, and then I turn on a couple of stuff. But I could go one by one here. The only thing that I have high or enable is the texture resolution and texture filter anisotropic. Hey, listen, don't cook me if I said it wrong. I don't even know how to say it. But I have these two things at high, and that's it. The rest is like all O or off. So some of these things I think were resetted, so I'm gonna be going through them as I'm checking them. But usually everything is off or low. I don't want to have any of these like little extra graphics that would lose basically some FPS over. So I think these reset every single time you start again for some reason. The cache hunt shadows and cache spot shadows always reset. Every time I look at them, they're resetted. So aside from that, man, I think that's pretty much it. One thing you definitely need to have on, you guys can like copy my settings, but one thing you definitely want to have on, man, is fidelity effects cache. You want to have this on and at 100. I think by default it's off. When you turn it on, it's going to be at 80. Set it to 100, and dude, it's going to make your game look so much better, and you're getting a lot more FPS out of this. I don't even know what it does, but it's so much better having this on compared to off. And my VRAM's at 90, depth field of view is off, and anti-assailing is set to the second one, Filmic SMA2TX. And yeah, that's pretty much the quality settings. And in gameplay, there's not that many settings, but they're important settings, man. Field of view 110. I think my last settings video was like 105. I ended up increasing it to 110, and I've been playing with that since for months. Camera movement set to 50. So when the screen is shaking, when you set it at 100 and the screen is shaking, it shakes a lot. You can't see anything. So I decreased it to 50, and I can see a little bit more there. Motion blur on everything is just disabled. That is super ugly. I don't even know why it's a thing. So I have that off, where world motion blur and weapon motion blur, and NVIDIA reflex low latency, I have it off. So that's pretty much my graphic settings, and that pretty much covers, I think, all my settings. So we covered pretty much everything. And a lot of people also ask me in like other videos, not my settings video, but people who wonder sometimes, how do I change my enemy colors? When you aim at them, their name is gonna be in like a different color, and it's all right here in color customization. You can set like I don't really play with these ones. I really play with like these single settings right here. So your color on the mini map, your team color, your party color, and like your enemy color. And the enemy color when you aim at them, basically it's also going to be that color, which is pretty nice. I just love having that. So it's a little bit different than the usual. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, man, that's pretty much all my settings: graphic, audio, and controller. There's a couple of settings that, you know, are must have, like in the gameplay section, like I was talking about, like the auto airborne mantle. Definitely want to have these settings on. Automatic sprint, definitely want to have automatic sprint or tactical sprint. Either one of them, definitely don't want to have that off. Slide behavior tap, and stuff like in graphics, the fidelity cast on, motion blur off, and like all that good stuff, man. It's gonna help you a lot in your gameplay if you guys don't already have that on. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Hopefully you guys can enjoy the video. If you did it, be sure to drop a like. If you guys are brand new on the channel, y'all should subscribe. Aside from that, man, I'm gonna catch you guys later, man. Peace out.